starting in Fukushima.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know.
Even as we speak.
Yeah.
They're passing the torch.
I didn't even know it was still going this year, but
right?
I guess so.
Why not? I mean,
So it's basically going to be an entire run through all the 47 prefectures of Japan. I'm not sure where the Olympic is being held or where it ends, though. You know?
I do not. I haven't been following that.
No, I haven't been either. I haven't heard it in the news at all, actually.
Yeah, they've been talking about so many other things. I did know that Japan did get a 7.2 earthquake the other day, and they were worried about, of all things, they were worried about tsunami. Because it was the earthquake actually took place just offshore in Japan. So that's why the tsunami warnings in, I guess, all the neighboring, areas. But whoa, yeah, 7.2. It's a little bit of that'll rattle your windows, and then
a little
some.
bit more than rattling your windows, yeah,
and then some. Yes.
Ooh, okay, so getting into more of Biden's things during his press conference this week, he covered things relating to climate change, border issue, gun control, and I believe he also covered, what was the name? Not filibuster? No, it's
yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got the name
right. According to townhall.com, Biden accidentally criticizes the Senate Democrats for abusing the filibuster. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, the filibuster rule, this administration is actually looking to, as I understand it, to eliminate the filibuster so that the loyal opposition, so whatever, in this case, the Republicans, the whole purpose of the filibuster is, if the other party outstrips you in members, then you just pretty much everything is a party line vote, and then you just lose. But the filibuster gives a little bit of balance so that if you are the loyal opposition party, and you feel that this whatever the measure is about to be voted on is totally inappropriate for whatever reasons that would be your filibuster, and that would table that motion until they can resolve it. So I kind of like it. It cuts both ways, because when Republicans are in charge, it gives the Democrats a chance to filibuster when they feel there's something inappropriate, and there's no reason why they can't offer the same opportunities for the loyal opposition, in this case the Republicans. So that's what the filibuster rule is all about. So if that rule sunsets, that way it gives the it's just, so they have the White House, they have the they have that part of the government, right? Then they have the
judicial, legislative.
Well, the legislative. So they got both the House and the Senate. So they have the legislative, and the judicial should be standalone anyways. It's not going to really, it shouldn't be swayed by party, but generally, the judicial has shown to be more political than anybody would feel comfortable about.
Yeah.
I would like to see them be more independent, no matter who's in charge in government, right? So we've got somebody calling us.
Do agree with you. It does feel a bit more like political.
You are on the air. Who is calling, please?
Hey, I just wanted to call and put a little interjection here.
Sure, please.
Biden was asked if he thought the filibuster was a product of the Jim Crow generation. Are they going to call it racist now? If you want to filibuster, it's a racist move.
Interesting.
Because he agreed to the reporter that said to him, do you think it's a Jim Crow, reference item? And he said yes. Now, but they forgot to tell you something very important fact.
Okay.
In the last 6 years, the only party that's used the filibuster is the Democrats.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
Well, you
It
know,
must be a bunch of racists then,
well-
right? If the
well-
Democrats are using a Jim Crow thing that's a racist thing,
right.
and they're using it, then
Sure.
they must be racist.
Well, it sure makes you scratch your head, doesn't it?
Oh,
The whole,
yeah. It's like, you know, you can call it what it is, but that's the truth.
well, the
Until
whole,
we shade it. We're going to shade it now. We're
right.
going to cover it up. We're going to make it all like a bed of roses because Donald Trump did this. You know, it's you know, he blamed Donald Trump for everything today.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah.
you know, Donald Trump did this, but when Donald Trump was in the office, we didn't have a border issue.
Right.
I mean, we were handling the border. When
Right.
Donald Trump was in the office, we had $2 gas.
Right.
Now we're buying it from Syria.
Right.
Oh, why?
Yeah.
It's a disaster, my man.
It
And
hurts.
if anybody out there voted for Joe Biden, they can shake their heads and hang it with pride because it's just a total screw up. But that's all I got to say.
Well,
I'll let you guys go back.
Yeah,
to the
thank you.
conversation.
But hey, what do you think about the midterm elections going forward? Do you think this might be a good opportunity?
I don't know. I mean, with all the way that they conduct their elections, I don't even know if we're going to ever win an election again.
Yeah, but it's possible that if some of the states improve the voter laws so that there's no shenanigans.
Well, you ought to talk to them big states like New York and Pennsylvania and all that stuff. They've been doing it for years and years and years and years.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Illinois.
yeah. I mean, it's well known. I mean, I'm an independent person. I vote for who I think will do the best for the country.
Right. Right. Well, I know there was a story goes back many, many years during 1960. There was a conversation after the Nixon-Kennedy election when Kennedy won narrowly because of he carried Illinois, and there was some question about whether or not some of the votes out of the districts out of Chicago area were legitimate votes that favored Democrats, and Nixon says he wasn't going to pursue that. He says, I don't want to win an election this way by arguing, the votes. So that's why he just conceded. But these conversations go that far back.
It's just amazing. Why can't they get that straight? You have to show your driver's license when you do anything in this world nowadays.
Well,
I mean, you go. Now you're going to say that you can walk in and just say, I'm Joe Blow and I'm here to vote, and you're going to hand me a ballot. I'm going to go vote. I go to the next precinct. Well, now I'm Joe Smith. I'll go in there and vote too. Are you freaking ridiculous? Come on, guys. Why are they scared? Why are they scared to have a person go to the voting booth just like we always did?
Right.
Show your ID. They open up the roll, they check you off.
Right.
Go in the booth and you vote, and that. Why is that wrong?
Mm-hmm. No,
I
know.
I've never heard of anybody being stopped up there and said because you're black or you're Hispanic or you're this or you're that, you're not allowed to vote today. I mean, even if you have a driver's license and you got all the things you need.
Right.
And I'm so tired of listening to the ABC, NBC, and CBS all spout this racist crap. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible.
When you don't have anything constructive to add to, they just, use the racism blanket statement because they really don't have any.
Why doesn't anybody step up and say to them, well, hey, whoa, that's a racist thing. Why have you all been using it for the last 7 years? You're the only one that used it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Spank you on the hand. Let's see. We're not gonna hear that. We're not gonna hear that. Oh, let's fact check that. Well, who are you gonna fact check it with? Your people. Your people didn't know a fact if it hit them in the face. But anyway, have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your call. We appreciate it. And thanks for listening. And we'll be right back. We got to take our last time out. We'll be right back. Whoops. It's actually WSTU here in Stewart. All right. Sorry about that. I keyed in the wrong identifier. But, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so according to Newsmax, during the Biden press conference today, Joe Biden took questions in a formal press conference setting for the first time during his White House tenure, fielding questions about the illegal immigrants crisis at the border and whether to support abolishing the Senate filibuster, and mostly laying blame for many of the problems at the feet of his predecessor. So the title of this article is Biden Defends Border Approach, Rollback of Trump Migrant Policies. So he essentially defended his approach, and he thought that even though there's a crisis at the border, he says, well, it's really not our problem. It's because of the previous administration, which is that's why it's an interesting argument. I don't buy it, but I think this is an argument that would likely get settled during the midterm elections.
Well,
that's why I asked our last caller about what his thoughts were on the midterms. But my guess is a lot of these issues will get resolved, and people will see this and they'll say, am I better off now than are we as a country better off now than we were 3 years ago, 4 years ago? And then when they ask themselves that during the midterm, they'll say, I don't know, maybe want to look at other than just selecting the D at the ballot box. So it'll be, I think it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out going forward. And we'll keep an eye on it. But so it was a landmark day. It was the longest time frame that a sitting president has ever taken before his first news conference in over 100 years.
He was getting a lot of criticism for that too.
A lot of criticism, and I think justifiably so.
Yeah.
There's, it
should be more open, in my
especially
opinion.
when we have a pandemic going on. I think you need to have the president should be available, should be kind of a comforting person. And when there's issues, that are stressing the nation, I think people want to hear from the commander in chief.
I think even Teddy Roosevelt did that with his campfire talks too. No.
Yeah, that was.
I know,
yes,
but
yes,
it was
yes.
a different time, but kind of the same aspect. I was like, if you have somebody in sort of power, they'll kind of respond and
we've got a caller on
Yeah.
the line. We only got a couple of minutes left. What's on your mind, caller?
Well, I would just simply say that I listened to
Oh,
Biden
gosh.
on the radio,
Yes, sir.
and he was lost in his own thoughts.
Mm.
He was answering questions that were pre-selected. In other words, certain
Right.
of the reporters, they had to turn in their questions,
Yeah. So he
and
had
it was all prepared.
he had notes. I understand
Yeah.
he would glance at his notes during the press
Right,
conference. Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And then when he went off script, all of a sudden he ended up wandering with his mind and got lost.
Hmm.
It's quite embarrassing.
Oh.
It really is.
It's sad to watch.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's elder abuse, I think. Period. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point.
my opinion.
All right.
All
very
right,
good.
guys. Thank you very much. I
Hey.
enjoy the show.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
listening. Thanks for your call.
Yep. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Very good. So
yeah.
that was interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said about, interestingly, and I know we touched on this some weeks ago, but even before the election, before the November election, Nancy, what's her name?
Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi. Thank you. Nancy Pelosi. She asked if about the 25th Amendment.
Hmm.
And she wasn't talking about the sitting president. She was saying going forward, what are the rules? So she wanted to kind of get her grounding on that, knowing that there was a possibility that Joe Biden could get elected. And so, and probably I think that's pretty telling, so that, I'm not too sure we're going to see Joe Biden fill out his full term as president. I'm really questioning that. The fact that he took so long before his first news conference, and casual observers, our callers, can tell during a news conference that this is an individual that is struggling, with his ability to pay attention, to stay on task, and that sort of thing. And that's got to be just a little disconcerting, So that's something that we certainly want to keep an eye on, and we will, as a nation, be watching that. It will be interesting to see how how that'll move going forward. If that'll come from somebody within the executive branch of government, if somebody that would notify the Speaker of the House and Nancy Pelosi and say, perhaps we want to talk about, this situation, and it's very likely we might see President Harris before the end of Joe Biden's term.
I think the same thing happened, Mr. Trump, though, too. So,
well, there was a conversation.
Different situation,
right? There was always conversation
always
about
stressful,
that.
but
Yeah. But yeah, well, I think the conversation really with President Trump was when he got COVID. He was pretty sick, actually, for about a day or so.
I think people are also judging his mental state as well.
Well, they were doing that before he even got elected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it turns out that many of the things that he railed about, were pretty spot on, and so that he had a unique way of highlighting an issue.
Twitter.
Well, yes, but he had a unique way of highlighting an issue or complaining, to people and about people. That's just Donald Trump.
The Twitter
style.
was interesting.
It was pretty interesting, and I think it was very, very sad commentary about our country when you have private companies unplug a sitting president from their platform. That is pretty frightening, because if they can cancel a sitting president, pretty much anybody's in the hit parade. So that's not it. Does not bode well for the future. So, and I know those guys are right now being grilled by congressional representatives right now about these issues, because it's troubling for both sides of the aisle. Because if somebody in the media doesn't like you, they can come after you and then just deplatform you, and then you don't have a voice anymore. And that's pretty frightening.
Well, they probably already have this, but they could just set up their own website, in my opinion.
They could, but the point being is these are a lot of cross platforms. It's pretty unique that you had Twitter, Facebook, and I think one or two other
Facebook. Wait, not you said Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, they all came to the same, moment at the same time.
I believe some of them are owned by the same main corporation too.
Perhaps, but it's frightening, and you don't want private people disseminating information for us, and we should really do our own disseminating.
When you put it like that, yes, but I also feel like society is almost like a whole, at least socially in the media wise, kind of just be like, we should probably get rid of them. So, I mean, I think it's also societal if you're putting it like that. Kind of the same thing with the government in general. You have people in positions of power, but it's still run by the people to an extent. As long as the people have a voice, they can change pretty much everything.
Right. But if somebody takes away your voice, big problem. So that's the rub, isn't it?
Oh, if you can yell louder than them, then it's obsolete, in my opinion. But
right. Okay. Well, there you go. We have to leave it there, and we'll be right back next week at this time. We'll look forward to chatting with you, and thank you for calling, and we'll look forward to presenting more news and information to you next week right here on Treasure Coast Forum. Good night.